Welcome to Journey Through the Gate, your paranormal portal podcast, as we delve into the many questions and wonders brought on by the supernatural experience. What's on the other side of the gate? Let's find out together.
Hello, everybody. Hey. Welcome in. Hey, Steve. How you
doing
there? Tonight?
Doing great, thanks. Just as your great gate squeaked there, I touched my microphone. I thought it was feedback. What the hell happened here?
No. Feedback. You know,
it was your gate squeaking.
Tonight we're just going to call it an EVP, Steve. How's everybody out there? Let's see who we got in here. I'm telling you what. I just don't know anything happened during this podcast. All the cards are off the table.
The Titanic may sink again.
I got the Titanic for you tonight too, my
Titanic's going to rise to the top and then sink again.
I got Titanic for you tonight too. I'm telling you what. Let's see. You sounding real good, see. Let me see if I can get... Let me see. It's like so bright I can't see. Hi, everybody in the chat. Give me a second so I can see. There I go. I'm disappearing right before your eyes. Oh, my goodness.
Trying to drink my headache here.
Oh, my goodness.
Drink my headache away. I've got water, coffee, and Diet Coke. So between all three of those, I
all right.
Hydrate, and I took
I had a cigar with that, and you might be all right. I might be able to help you with that. So we'll get into all that. I met so many lovely people in Gettysburg, and there's so many lovely people in here tonight. We got Oracles and Beyond. We got Starlight. We've got Ara Young. Just pronounce that name again. It's so pretty. I don't mess it up. Marade rhymes with mermaid. I'll get it eventually. We got Caillou Snyder.
Oh, Callie.
Okay, we got Pam Smith. We've got let's see here. Oh, so many lovely people. We got Chris Jarvis. We got a whole bunch of people in here.
Cowie, you think Maui Wowie. You remember when that was the thing back in the day?
Cowie, okay. You know, you tell me that every time. It probably only take me 6 months to get it right. DC Joey, and no disrespect meant, but I'm telling you, if you knew me, I can't pronounce my own name half the time. Hello to everybody, Oracles and Beyond, everybody in here. Okay, so here we go. Hang on to your hats, everybody. Get your little thinking caps on. Get your foil hats out. Because I'm telling you, you're going to need the aluminum foil tonight. Steve, how was your weekend? Good?
Had a great weekend. Just got a lot done and still managed to take it easy, relax. I'm loving life right now. Just got so much going on, but
your book's doing great.
It's not like my new book came out, dropped, went straight to #1 in 3 different categories.
Was it the Piggly Wiggly you said?
No, somebody sent me a picture. They saw it on the shelf in a Target store in the book section in somewhere in Florida.
How cool is that? And, I love you. That's just
too. And then I'm waiting though for it to show up. Somebody else said it was in Walmart, that you could order it off of Walmart. But I'm waiting for Piggly Wiggly. When it shows up at the Piggly Wiggly up there by the checkout, I'm going to go have a book signing.
Outstanding. You know what? Say what you want about Piggly Wiggly. They had great meats. I mean, we had one down in Alabama. But anyhow.
I love Piggly Wiggly. I really do. It's a funny sounding place. But if you want to do something fun, go to Google, type in Piggly Wiggly and police. For some reason, something's always going down to Piggly Wiggly. Somebody's getting arrested, somebody's getting shot at, somebody getting beat up, somebody pulled a knife on the manager. Piggly Wiggly is where it's at.
And not one of them including a pig or involving a pig in any way, as far as I know, unless there's a grease pig chase down there at the parking lot, which I don't doubt. I've seen weddings at the Waffle House, so who am I to judge?
That's another place to crowd watch. Waffle House after 2 a.m.
I'm telling you, I've done my time 2 a.m. So there it is, right in front of you. Oh, beautiful. Oracles and Beyond's trying to help us out here. There it is right there. Oh.
I think she's just saying hi to it. But yeah, it's Cowie. If you remember from when we were kids, Maui Wowie was what you looked for.
Maui,
that or Acapulco Gold or Panama Red or
Tie Stick.
Yeah, there you go.
Tie Stick.
Harken back to the old days. Cowie,
was,
Maui Wowie. There you go.
I'll never forget in high school in the bathroom. Hey man, I got the Sensimillion. See, it was like seedless, right? Remember that? It was like anything. Now there's so many names I can't keep up
Afghan Hash. What was it? Lebanese Blonde.
Maui Wowie.
DC Joy, I don't sleep, buddy. I'm chronic insomniac, have been for life. I sleep about 2 hours out of any 24. Sometimes I'll take maybe like a half hour, 45-minute nap later in the day, but I don't sleep. That's why I'm able to do 2 or 3 streams a day and write books and narrate for Missing Persons and Mysteries and do all the other stuff I've got in.
Remember that one? White Widow Kush. Oh my gosh.
I stay away from the Kush.
I can sit here just naming drugs through the whole, and that's it, folks. You have a good night. We'll see you back again.
All that's legal out here, and I'm telling you, some of the stuff that's legal, it's not like we had back in the day. We had homegrown and skunk weed and seeds and stems and shake. But
you gotta find you a kid with a fish tank and an ultraviolet light, because I'm telling you what, they're putting out some stuff. Knocked me right on my ass.
Lettuce out here,
right on my ass.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you want another hit? No, thank you. No. I'm good for the next week.
And some of those edibles, there's 2 stages of edibles. Well, the first stage is this didn't work, and the second stage is please take me to the emergency room.
Yep.
I've been there.
What is this, son? Can I have some of these gummy bears? Ooh, they're big. They taste just like fruit. Holy hell, who the hell are you? It's like that fast. It's like, boo. Or maybe a handful of gummies because you think they're regular gummies, and before you know it.
No, I had somebody make me some cookies one time. And I met him at the train station here in Portland, the MAX train, the commuter train. Met him on the platform. And he handed me a sack of cookies that he had made. And he said, be careful with these, they're strong. He said, start with a 4th. And there was a train going by, and I heard start with 4.
No.
Start. And I got on the train, I ate one. Like, oh, these are pretty good. I ate another one. He said, well, I could have 4. So I ate 2 more because they were good. And I missed my stop about 5 times. And the nice thing about the train out here is it goes all the way to the airport if you're on the east-west line. And then it doesn't turn around or anything. You just stay on it and it starts back the other direction. I must have been to the airport 4 times that day. And it's like 2 hours from the airport all the way out to Fairgrounds, which is past the Intel campus on the other side. I was on there for like 6 or 7 hours. Finally got off and then got on the wrong bus and ended up back downtown. And I like to never got home. The buses had stopped running and I had to walk the last couple miles. But I was happy.
Well, you remind me to tell you, chat, listen up. Remind me. Hello, Carol, darling. How you doing? Remind me to tell you next week the story. And all you have to do is tell us the story that begins, the circus was in town. And I promise you I'll take you on a wild ride that you'll think it was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory meets Bacardi 151 and purple microdot and
any story that starts out the circus was in town.
I promise you it's true.
You know it's going to be a doozy.
Every word is true. I still have scars to prove it. Look, right there. So anyway, Gettysburg. Woo! I mean, the cover art I had a fun time with, and hello, Don Oracles and Beyond. How you doing, sweetheart? I think I missed a hello. No, I think I said hi. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so excited. I am so excited to come off of this weekend. All right, Gettysburg Bash. First of all, I'd like to thank Pamela and Steve Barry from Gettysburg Exchange out in Gettysburg, and now they have the wonderful Hoover House, the 1812 Hoover House, which I went to, which is just, oh my gosh. And that's right there outside of Gettysburg, and they, I believe, co-own that with Jim Wyrick and Dave Haney of KSPS, the fantastic paranormal group we've had on here several times. Wonderful people, every single one of them. They all have specialties. Now, keep in mind, people, everybody here has a specialty in the paranormal, supernatural, metaphysical. So everything from crystals and jewelry to Dybbuk boxes, you know, replicas. I don't know if it's a real thing. I didn't go near it. I didn't need the extra woo-woo. I had enough of my own going on. And they put the whole thing on at the Wyndham Hotel in Gettysburg, downtown center Gettysburg. Beautiful place. Has a theater across the street, big circle of stuff, you know, another bar, Mexican restaurant, all kinds of stuff. There's a beautiful place, beautiful downtown. And I will always stay someplace that has cannons in the lobby. I mean, that's my kind of place right there. Big old cannon, just, you know, welcome in. I'm like, okay, that's great. But I hadn't been. This is the fifth one. It's the fourth annual, fifth year, because last year they didn't get to have it. So they always put it on. Lots of work, I kid, but so much work they put into this, and so many wonderful people involved that I won't start naming all the names because I'll forget somebody. And just everybody that touched that is an absolute angel and a wonderful person. And as I say, you know, the people you don't think are going to come through and pull off something like that for a good cause. Now, this was for terminally ill children and wounded vets in Pennsylvania. And so a lot of people donate their time and their talents and their, you know, all kinds of things. Seminars. I mean, Jack Kenna was there with Carly. If you want paranormal information, and somebody's been in this for a long time, I mean, he's been in just about, I mean, there's like 9 to 10 different TV shows, and so is she. I think Paranormal Survivor for her, and The Haunted, and Haunted Fire, all kinds of stuff.
First, I thought you said Jack Hanna. That's somebody different.
Jack, no, and
Jack
so,
Hanna's the San Diego Zoo. He's a wild man.
That's true. But he was there. Mark Nesbitt and Carol Nesbitt. How much I love them. I mean, I think Carol jumped up and said Cisco before I got 3 tables away, and I was just, I love Mark. Mark is, I want to say over 20, 25 years. He was a guard for the battlefield in Gettysburg. So he started out as that, and he worked his way through, and he's been on the show a couple times, and he's just one of those people that I started this podcast to talk to, because I just want to talk to these people, you know, get the information and all the expertise and their you know, their vantage point on everything. I mean, gosh, how many shows have I turned on and it says, you know, Gettysburg, haunted Gettysburg expert Mark Nesbitt, and here, you know, 10, 15 years later, I'm talking to him. And he knows my name, and I just never get over that. I'm just fangirled out constantly, you know. But you know, when you sit around, you're having a beer, you're having some barbecue, or you're sitting here watching these kids having a good time. It's just, you're sitting down with real people. You know, and that's the thing. And everybody always says, we were on the elevator. One lady asked my son, there was a wedding there at the same time. And one of the ladies asked me, I said, what's this paranormal stuff all about? I seen a bear, you know, dressed, a big old teddy bear dressed up walking around. I saw Wonder Woman and Batman and a big old Sasquatch that has free hugs on the front. What's this all about? I can't put it together, you know. And it's just so funny because, you know, people looking in, you know, see a lot of scary people in t-shirts and tattoos, black t-shirts and tattoos with scary skulls and things, ghosts on them and stuff. And they don't realize that they just donated so much of their time and talent and expertise and everything to help these kids and these wounded warriors. So it's a beautiful thing. And I always say, you know, the scary people in the t-shirt have learned all the lessons that the dead are trying to tell us. You know, you're used to thinking outside of the box and the fringe. They know what's going on. And they're not scary at all, because when the shit hits the fan, they get the calls, and you know what? They show up. Yep. They show up. They're there to help a stranger, and it's amazing, as well as the living. So it's a beautiful thing. If you ever get a chance to go, please go. I mean, I think it was $20 to get in for all 3 days. You got to sit down and talk to everybody, you know, from demonologists and exorcists to like I said, wonderful, talented people. And I'm gonna, if you wouldn't mind, I'm gonna name a few off because these were the people that were making quality products in the United States. They, during the lockdowns, everything, they dug down inside themselves and they found another way to make it happen. And every single one of them chose something that would, at least they could use to help somebody. And I thought, well, the only thing I can do right now is to announce you on my podcast for nothing. So, and I will continue to do it, and I'm going to put together a little video that I play at the end to promote some of these people. And one of them is Yvette. This guy here is just something else, and I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. It's Merrick Vachone. Now, he is with Jerky Jack, and I'll tell you what, if I didn't think that, let me see if I get that right. See that right there? Jerky Jack. There we go. Beef jerky. This one happens to be the Matlack Black Pepper. I had the, I think it was bacon's, sriracha bacon. I can't even tell you. And this is not the kind of jerky that you get. You know those beef jerkies you get, it almost tastes like plastic shoe leather sometimes. It's real hard to chew. This isn't like that at all. My husband will kill me for putting my hand in his beef jerky, but I'm going to eat some too, so they're live TV. But it's not. It's moist. It's like a real thick cut bacon.
Wow, it looks good.
Oh my God. I mean, can you smell it? I wish I had smell
Almost.
vision. I wish I had smell vision. But it's really, really flaky. I don't know how he does it. All of it is bought here. He supports local businesses as well. And I'll tell you what, like I said, if I didn't think it was the best I've ever had, I wouldn't say so. But the man is also a vet. Everything is made in the USA. So if you got Christmas stockings to fill, or I know it sounds early, but hey, why not support a small business, a vet, and somebody who was a chef, for I don't know how many years.
Looks good. Some of that stuff, yeah, you think you're eating Soylent Green or something. Or
No. This is so good. And, I was on such a big mouth that I have. I mean, he was selling so much product. I thought he was going to trip me when I walked by. Because, it was just, he was so busy. And I said, well, just be glad that I like your stuff because I got a big mouth the other way, too. And the other thing, I'm going to see if I can get a light on this. I needed a new cup. I call her, this is my new cup. Wait, I'm going to go this way. I call her Slippery Sally. And this is one of those hand-dipped resin. It's like that famous cup that begins with a Y and all these others. It keeps your ice all day. And it's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can get that nice picture, nice black and purple rose on there.
Oh, that is pretty.
She's also another that came through and just decided, hey, I'm going to do something. I'm going to put it out there. The workmanship on this stuff is amazing. And it is Solstice Shimmer. And this is Megan Talbert. So you go to her website. It's Solstice Shimmer. Just look it up and give her some of your business and some of your love. And, well, you can't read that card. But anyway, Solstice Shimmer, glittery cups. And, again, made in the USA. She gets everything in the USA. She says, except the glitter. She says it's just exceptional. I said, we always make exceptions for glitter. So give her a look. Give her a look on her website. Now there's another set of vets. And I just have to promote these last two, and then we'll get on with all the festivities that happen in Gettysburg. But this is another one. Now, these guys, every single one of these people not only, found in themselves to move forward, like you and I, Steve, and a lot of people in this chat, right? And, again, down and during all these times, and decided they were going to make their dream come true. So it's called Perfect Draw Cigar Lounge. And I had a long talk with Mr. Dale Martin and a couple other people, and I'm going to go ahead and see if I can share their site. And I'm going to tell you why, because picture's worth 1,000 words. So bear with me if I don't get this right. Bear with me, chat. Hang in there, babies. Please. Because I'm just learning. But you got to see what people are doing. People are getting it done up in here. Let's see here. Let's do... Oh, where did they go? Where did they go? Let's see. Blackout Tribute. All right, let's try. Oh, here we go. This is it right here. Okay. Sorry, guys. Took so long. Perfect Draw Cigar Lounge. Can you see that? Let's
see part of it.
Let me see if I can get this right.
Might be able to go full screen with it.
No sugar. All right, let me try again. Are you still there? I think I lost it there.
No, I'm still here.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can get this. Oh, sugar. Okay. Maybe I can't do this. Ba-da.
Go to the share, and I think maybe the full screen one, the one on the far
Okay,
right
let me. Okay. This
at
one
the
here.
bottom.
Okay, now try it. One more time, guys. Let me give it a whirl. I think we might be able to do it. Okay. Well, I don't know if I can get that one up, but I'm going to try this one here. Let's see if we can get this one up. Oh, yeah, I can get this one. All right.
There we
So
go.
I'm just going to tell you about these guys. This is also the Blackout Veterans Tribute. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And if I can get this to where you can see it. Can you guys see that there? It's
Yeah.
got to be better.
See,
Okay,
see the
good,
web
good.
page,
Yep. Well,
and you can scroll through it. Looked like.
add stream, and here we go.
There
All
we go.
right,
Now,
there we go. Woo, okay.
now you should be
So,
able to take your cursor and move around in
and
there.
move around. Let's see, I'm not able to move. All right, full screen layout. Maybe try that. Let me see if I can move this around. All right, let me move this down. All right. Well, I'm not going to be able to move it around like I thought I could. Yeah, it won't give me any control. I have to practice on that, guys. But anyway, as you can see, the big truck here. And I'll see if I can pull up another thing here. Shoot. Doggone it. Here we go. I don't know if you can see it. Can you still see it, Steve?
Yeah, and
Here's
it's
the
scrolling now.
All right. Here is the... Let me get back to home. And here's this bad boy right here. There's a little video. I don't know. Can you see that video?
Yeah.
When I hit it?
It's playing.
Look
Yeah.
at this truck. Look at this
You
truck.
can probably expand it there. There you go.
Look at this truck.
Wow, that's a nice truck.
Look at that. That Chuck did that. And this man, if you know of anybody doing any kind of veteran tributes, he's in the Pennsylvania area. I know West Virginia as well. This man puts his own gas, and it's not cheap, and drives us around to any tribute for veterans, Memorial Day, Labor Day, fire companies, police, anything, that he can get the word out about POWMIA. He does it on his own, and it's completely off of donations. Now, he's got his website, and you can go here, and it's blackoutink.org. So if you know anybody that is doing something like that, or gathering, or a fair, or anything like that, please get through to Chuck. He's got a Facebook, and I'm going to put all those links inside. But also, like I said, the perfect draw for these guys, when you get on their website, the fun part about that is here comes weddings and bachelor parties and things like that. What a perfect thing to pull for a wedding. Next week I'll get the pictures on there of them, even if I got to load them. But what these guys did, my son came and got me and said, "You've got to feel the energy in this thing." They took an old metal trailer, kind of like what's those, Silverstream, those... Airstreams, and gutted it and rebuilt it. It's got all silver tile inside, beautiful black couches and humidors, and the lights, the light blue lights, and it's absolutely gorgeous in there. These guys absolutely blew me away. So Dale Martin and his lovely wife from Urban's Edge, I wanted to say hi, and I'll do a little bit of better presentation next time. And again, we're doing all this for free. I'm going to constantly keep doing it. If you know anybody that can use these things, you just let them know, like the jerky and the cups and so many things. So it wouldn't hurt to support small business right now, and I'll tell you, you won't be sorry if you hire them. I think they have the license for all of Pennsylvania, but call them and ask them and talk to them. These are three wonderful guys that got together and made a dream happen, and they have lovely wives, and it's for a great cause, and I appreciate y'all listening, but I'm telling you what, that beef jerky, blow you away.
That looks so good.
All right, so anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to all that. Is the Airstream haunted? I don't think so. What it was is, you know how we're all just looking for that little bit of peace right now? when you started walking towards these people, the Blackout truck, I've known him for several years, and like I said, doing it for the vets, and the artwork on that people worked on, it was more hands than just one. But when you walked into that the Perfect Draw, their experience that they built, I don't want to say a trailer because it's an experience. It's like it almost looks like one of those big old long limousines that you can hire for things. It's got all the the lights and stuff, but it's not that. It's serene, and the energy is unbelievably awesome. And you just walk in there. I told him, I said, when you walk in, you come in one way. When you walk out, you feel so much better. So if that's a form of meditation, if you dig a good cigar and nice conversation and a great, atmosphere, hire them for your wedding, your party, or you've got somebody retiring, or something like that. I mean, great. Just go on their website and check it out. It's Perfect Draw Cigar Lounge. And try them and check it out. But that was the thing about Gettysburg, is you're meeting great people. Your old friends, you making new ones, but so many other different people that were there. Like I said, Mark Nesbitt. I mean, you had every, Scott Porter was there from, gosh, I can't even remember the show, but you name the show, somebody was probably there from it, We had Lori Johnson, a fantastic medium, and so many different paranormal groups and stuff. But one of the reasons we went down there, now if you read the book that Steve and I did, my book, We Are All Children in the Wilderness of the Afterlife. I'll throw a banner up here because it's a long name and you might want to get it copied down. Give it a try. It's on Amazon right now. It's an ebook and paperback, and there's also a little thing at the end of the show that shows the cover, which I just love the cover of that book, Steve.
Oh yeah.
But if you read that, then you'll know I go to Gettysburg. The first time I went, I took my sons, and we went on a 2-day crazy whirlwind trip to Gettysburg, and we did and saw so many things, but I had been drawn all my life there. I feel like I have some kind of connection there. Whether that means that I was reincarnated or just drawn, it has to be some reason. Steve and I have talked about this ad nauseum, about trying to figure out why I would drive past 1,000 different battlefields just to go to that one. I'm 5 miles maybe from Battle of Monmouth for the Revolutionary War, but I feel different at Gettysburg. I feel pulled there, whereas when I go to Fort Monmouth or Valley Forge or Fredericksburg or something like that, I feel homage, respect and interest, and of course you feel bad for the those who fought in the battle, and you also feel proud of them, and just so many feelings. And of course, all the feelings go with an empath or a sensitive. You're going to pick up all kinds of stuff at a battlefield. But Gettysburg, for me, always had a certain pull. So usually when I go there, I tell Steve, I don't know why I'm going, but I'm going for a reason. Well, it's never disappointed. So this time, I kept telling everybody, well, why are you going? I don't know. I was getting that I was going to help a child, but I didn't know who. I didn't know where. And I thought perhaps it was a little boy. And then as I got closer to it, I was getting that the little boy didn't need help, that he was kind of good because he wasn't stuck. He was like almost a visitation back and forth. This little sucker can go back and forth pretty much at will, and he has favorite people he comes to visit. I'm sure everybody's heard of ghosts that can do that, where they're probably helping other people more than we know. I don't know what he's doing, or whether it's just for fun, or if it's for some kind of energy boost or whatever it may be, but he's a happy little guy, and he often comes in and plays with equipment and stuff like that over at the Hoover House that I told you in the beginning that Pam Barry and KSPS James and Dave and Steve all own together. Beautiful, beautiful place. But Friday night we go in and we see everybody, and it's absolutely wonderful to see your friends after so long, and like for such a good cause. And we all hung out pretty much the first day, and I told my husband, who had never been to the battlefield, we'll go or get up early in the morning, I'll take you to the battlefield, show you Devil's Den and Peach Orchard and Pickett's Charge, Little Round Top, Big Round Top, and all through the town, and it's just an amazing, overwhelming feeling just to go on the battlefield itself, the memorial grounds where a lot of the battle happened. But a lot of the battle happened within the town too, because as we've said before, Steve, I mean, I think it was a town of what, 2,500 people, and then you had 170 something troops in one day just converge in that one section. So that's a lot of energy in one spot, right? Mm-hmm. And you had your heroes, you know, that of course, and the wonderful stories. So the night before, on that Friday night, everybody was getting together. Some people had been there since the morning, and we got there probably, you know, I get somewhere in late afternoon somewhere. And the first thing that James Wyrick said to me when I got there, he says, I want you to go down this hallway later when it's quiet. I'm getting a lot of energy out of there, and I can't sort it. That's how he put it. I can't sort it. So maybe later, if you get some time, you go down. So that first night after everything, Uncommon Belief and I decided to leave the hotel room about 12 o'clock. And they had a party outside, and the music stopped at 12. So everybody was coming in already. And and you know, there'd been some margaritas and beers going on, so everybody was having fun and kind of like staggering back up to their hotel rooms and hitting elevators. By then they were coming in as we were going back down, and I brought my dowsing rods. That's all I brought. I said, come on, I'm gonna grab that, my crystals, and we're gonna go down there and see if I can sort it, because it's quiet now, you know. So this hallway, anybody's been in a big hotel, and Uncommon Belief is in the chat now. He's one of my mods, and he can definitely vouch for this. We go down and we pass. I'll go all the way down to the first floor. We were on the 6th. And we go all the way down past where they were coming in from outside, where everybody was staggering in, and the last of it was getting locked up. There was nobody in the middle anymore, because the bash itself, where all the vending and stuff was, had been locked up. So as you go around this corner, you left all the people that were coming in way on the other side. Imagine a big L, you know, and an upside down L. So they were all to the right, and we had to go all the way up, cut the corner, and go past where the beginning was the bathrooms, and then a real long hallway with nothing on it. You know, no doors that were unlocked. I believe there was a storage room at the very end, and there was 2 chairs and a table and a couch at the very end of the hallway, I guess just to finish it off. And the biggest mirror I've ever seen in my life, Steve. I mean, if this thing was the size of a bedroom wall, I mean, it was just huge, end to end, in a huge ornate frame. And right across from it was another mirror about half the size. And then you triangled from that one to the next one was another big mirror. So as I'm walking up and down the hallway with my hands out and palms out, and I'm trying to feel the air, I'm feeling energy, but I'm feeling like new energy, if you know what I mean. Like maybe a lot of people walking back and forth, and, you know, maybe servers or workers going in and out of the bathroom or whatever it may be, but I felt like everything was ricocheting off those mirrors, like bing bang boom, like Ricochet Rabbit, you know. Like the energy was just bounce, bouncing back and forth until it finally like slowed down and bounced like a ball that lost momentum. That's what I was feeling. But once I walked through that, I said, let's sit down a minute here and see if we get anything. So I pull out the old dowsing rods, I do my little cleansing thing, and I sit there. Now, does everybody in the chat know what dowsing rods are? It's like 2 L-shaped rods that are bent. Mine happen to be copper, because I believe it's one of the best conduits. But they're used to use them to get water, and they'd be out of hickory or whatever, right, Steve?
Yeah.
Like find water.
No, willow. My dad used to use willow to find water with. But you can do anything. I've seen him use a pair of bent coat hangers and find a pipe that was buried in the ground.
Right. And, you know, I just find that I like the old school, especially when I'm working at, you know, doing something like Civil War, because you have to think, what era are you trying to get information? You know, who are you communicating with? And most of the time in Gettysburg, if you're on a battlefield, it's somebody from 150 years ago. So,
No.
I don't want to spook them as much like with all this flashy equipment. I get fine results with dowsing rods because all I use them for is to confirm what I'm already feeling. So I'm not putting my own self or my own ego or ideas or stuff in there, if that makes sense. Hello, New Zealand Mysteries. How you doing? Welcome in. Jackie, hi, honey. Welcome in. And Patriot 174 Anon. Thank you, honey, for coming in. And it's good to see y'all. So that's why I use the dowsing rod. So I'm just sitting there quiet. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Imagine being at the end of that hall. You're hearing a little bit of far away, giggles or a loud laugh or, people saying goodnight. Because like I said, there was tiny little groups way down this hall and all the way to the right, all the way down. But you still hear echoes in those halls, right? But you can tell the noises are far away. So it was quiet enough. And I started asking questions, and probably the first 2 questions easing in, I usually ask for a crisscross or show me a yes. And normally, I don't know why they know this, but they'll cross it for a yes, and usually you tell them, can you uncross it now? And then the no would be wide out, or, no answer would be straight or whatever. And sometimes you get a maybe and it might be hesitant both ways. Everybody I've talked to like this seems to have their own energy when they're doing it. So, but that's the gist of it. So I was getting a little hesitation at first, but definite reaction to questions. And eventually I got a yes or a no, and it was definite. And they got right to it, whoever I was talking to. But as I was talking to them, I said, I wish I had a recorder. I didn't even think to bring anything. It was last minute. And my son, Uncommon Belief, brings out his phone. Good old cell phone, right? I said, I'll just record. I said, please do it. And he hits record. So I described the cell phone because, again, I don't know who I'm talking to or if they know what a cell phone is, or they think I'm some kind of witch or something. Who knows what? But, who knows what? I mean, if you zap back in the past to cavemen and lit a Zippo, they think you were a god and you could probably be all right, But it would scare them too, right? So, again, you don't know who you're talking to. And I eventually got it to the point where I found out this person was probably closer to this era, like the last 10 or 20 years, rather than someone from the Civil War. Also, somebody that was more from around the hotel, not a worker or anything like that, but somebody that was either around the hotel or attached and drawn to somebody at the hotel. Took a few minutes to get there, but that's kind of where we were hitting. So when he hit the record button, I was explaining, just if you want to talk into where the red light is and, and answer and say something as loud as you can to answer back. So I was trying to ask questions slowly and give him a little time. And I kept feeling like hairs going up on my arm, and just all your regular stuff was going on. And darned if we don't think we caught something, Steve.
Wow. Are you going to favor us with that tonight? Do we get to hear it?
I think I might. So I don't want to say what I think it is because I don't want to put anything in anybody's head. But I did want to come clean and give a disclaimer at the beginning. This was not a clean investigation. There was no, if you were doing something like that, and I'm not an investigator. We were just trying something out, trying to find out because Jim said, can you go sort that? And I'm like, sure, no problem, So it wasn't, it wasn't soundproof. You're going to hear a door shut way down the hall. But I want you to listen to it and understand, if you really close your eyes and think, now would be the time to grab your headphones if you want to pop those in. If you don't, that's fine. I'll play it a couple of times. But it blows my mind because, darn it, the first time, here we are. You have to understand this. We're in here with seasoned investigators doing this. Some of them 30 years, never caught a clear, you know what I mean? And Uncommon Belief, first time he pulls out a recorder, first time he hits the button, gets something like this. So I'm here to tell you, there was a lot of people that were just absolutely thrilled that he got this. But while you're listening to it again, listen, and you're going to hear like far away, like chatter. That's not it. You're going to hear a door slam. That's not it. When you hear it, you'll know. But keep in mind, this thing is, the hallway is as long as a good-sized parking lot. We're at the very end of it. So you can definitely tell when voices are coming far away. This one sounds like it's right behind me. There's a little something in the beginning, but I'll play that back, and I think a little something at the end. And there's probably more because I haven't touched it, haven't cleaned it up, just took it off the phone, and I put it on a little video tonight because that was the only way that I could get you to hear it. Would anybody in the chat like to hear this little EVP?
Me. I'm not with, well, I am in the chat, but.
Right. Beginner's luck. You know? Could be. I just say if you quit now, you'd be way ahead of the game for a lot of things. So let's see if we can get this little video to play. And I'll play it a couple times, Steve. And we'll see what you think, okay?
All right.
Let me see if I can get this back and get over here. And boy, I hope this one works. It's been working all afternoon. So I put, like I said, the video has nothing to do with it. Listen here and tell me what you think. Can you tell us your name? Okay. Thank you. Just speak into the recorder and we'll see if we can get anything back, okay? I would really like to help you. Can you tell me, do you feel stuck here? Yes or no? No. Remember, no is to separate them, and yes is to cross. Maybe not stuck. Maybe let's try a different question. Do you feel like you can leave here and come and go as you please? Yes or no? My legs are so tingly right now. There it is. Now I'll play that again for you. But I say, in the beginning, I'm talking basically with the rods. So I'm saying, okay, remember a cross is for yes and for no. And the rods go to a no. And then you hear no. And you hear it again. Did anybody in the chat hear that? And I will play it again, but I'd love to see what you think.
I thought I heard a very distinctive no there at one point.
Okay. Now, when you listen to it again, you'll hear that door slam way down in the end. And that door was so far down and then off to the right and down that hall. But you can hear the echo, the boom. That's not it. And you can hear the people laughing and it's echoing up the hall. But when you listen to this no, it sounds like it's right behind me, and it sounds like something else. So now that you know where those two are, listen again. You ready? Here we go. And in the very beginning, listen for a little kind of titter thing, like do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and see what you think that is. Can you tell us your name? Okay. Thank you. Just speak into the recorder and we'll see if we can get anything back, okay? I would really like to help you. Can you tell me, do you feel stuck here? Yes or no? No. Remember, no is to separate them. And yes is to cross. Maybe not stuck. Maybe let's try a different question. Do you feel like you can leave here and come and go as you please? Yes or no? My legs are so tingly right now. No. Just like that. That's what I hear. Do you guys hear that?
Yeah, I definitely heard a no in there.
All right. Yep, everybody in here is saying I heard one no, I heard two no's. And I think Patriot 174 is saying it sounded like a lady. Yep, a woman's voice. Now think about this. I think it sounds like a little girl.
That was what I thought. I thought it sounded like a little girl, maybe 10, 11, 12,
Yep.
something like that.
Yeah, and she has a distinct emotion to it. No, wait a minute. She goes, no, and then thinks about it a second and says, no, and sounds a little further away. Now, Mario listened to it with headphones. He goes, I'm going to tell you what, I think it sounds like two different little girls. There's a tittering kind of thing when I say, can you tell us your name? And you get like a mumble from further away. None of that, also sounding like a child. And at the very end, when I say, come and go as you please, right over that, you hear, yeah. Like I feel, yeah, I can come and go as I please. It's a real short little yeah. And it's, again, like right behind me what it sounds like. And that's where I was getting all the chills. So you put all that together, and I think he caught something, Steve.
I think so. It sure sounded like it.
Yep. So after all this was over, I wanted to tag that little piece on the end there because that was Dave Haney who, with James, invited us down there. Steve, you know him. You've been on the show multiple times. But he was also standing right outside of the door on the very last part. When you go through that door, that was that hallway. It's the very end of the hotel, away from everything. Now, I heard the child like laughing or tittering in the beginning, definite kid. I heard a child in between saying something, couldn't make it out. I hear a guy saying something about like, where's the music? Because the music had been turned off for like a half hour now, and that's why everybody was milling out, coming in and going in those back doors and leaving. And you could hear them as they were walking through the back door because it echoed. And then, that, like I said, the door slam and everything. But I definitely hear children in this all the way through.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, were there other kids present? Because I heard, were there kids there as part of the function or whatever?
The kids pretty much left at 9 o'clock. This was about 12:30 at night. When I walked through, the only people that were left was the DJ was rolling up chords, and some adults were coming in through the door because they were helping to tear down, and like I said, were saying their goodnights.
Yeah, I definitely heard some kids somewhere in there.
There was not a child in sight at that point.
The no voice definitely sounded like a young female.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, uncommon belief. I heard two no's and a yes. It's more like a yeah at the end, like I can come and go as I please. So the whole thing, it's definite, intelligent, answering the question in real time that I did not hear audibly until you played the tape. We never heard any of that. I never heard a child. I barely heard anything. I think it's just a few loud things down at the end that the recorder picked up and kind of amplified on the echo, I believe, because again, the mirrors and the empty hall things echo, But there was not a kid in sight at that point in time. It was probably about 12:36 on Friday night. There were kids at the party probably up until like 9 o'clock or so. They were just coming in with their families, family night. And then they left. But by 12:30, there was nothing but some hard drinkers and stuff left staggering in the back door, and that was it. There was all adults at that point in time. It was unbelievable. So you hear children all through that as well. I do too. Does anybody want to hear it one more time? So
yeah, I'd like to hear it again if one people in the audience don't mind.
You guys don't mind. One more time. And now that you have a little more backstory on that, listen to the amount of children that you hear in this. You hear one lady laughing. That's a lady that I heard down the thing. And, of course, the guy says something about music at the door and some inaudible laughing. When these children's sounds are so much closer, listen one more time. Let's give it a whirl. And the little tittering in the beginning, right at the very beginning. And then at the end, look at the picture where Dave Haney is standing in the by the flag. That's that door. It's all brick building. All brick building. There was nobody on the other side of the walls that we were picking up, period. Just wasn't. Can you tell us your name? Okay. Thank you. Just speak into the recorder and we'll see if we can get anything back, okay? I would really like to help you. Can you tell me, do you feel stuck here? Yes or no? No. Remember, no is to separate them, and yes is to cross. Maybe not stuck. Maybe let's try a different question. Do you feel like you can leave here and come and go as you please? Yes or no? Oh boy, my legs are so tingly right now. That's it. That last picture is the other entrance into that hallway, and the vending convention room that we were standing in was the other, and that was completely empty, and that was the other side of that wall. All the doors were locked there, and that's the wall we were on. So, I mean, I've thought of everything I could think of, like somebody upstairs, somebody in the bathroom. There was nobody anywhere, after this, because I checked. I had my hands on the walls and everything, trying to pick up what Jim and other people were telling me. And like I said, late at night, now it's about 1, going on 1 a.m. in the morning. And he found it after, later on that night, listening to it after. Says, listen to this, what do you hear? So I'm going to have somebody with some equipment that can kind of separate that noise and see what we get. But I wanted to chat and everybody to hear it before it's been touched or anybody's, taking out the background noise and stuff like that. Steve knows what I'm talking about.
I'd love to hear it after it's been enhanced in Audacity. But this last time I heard the little deb sound like she was just not really saying like what's your name? It's a bib, like a kid, just being being silly with you. Oh, my name is bib.
Yep. Some people in here, the chat, they're saying that I thought 2 girls. I definitely heard 2 no's.
There's at least 2 girls in there, and maybe one even smaller. There's 2 about the same age, and then I heard, I think, a smaller one.
And Edna said in the beginning gibberish, but when kids get excited and stuff. Now keep in mind, we were probably there for about a good 20 minutes before he turned on the recorder, so we were getting answers with the dowsing rods and stuff like that. But I just needed something to try to unravel it, because they were being, it wasn't like they needed help. They kind of had a good feeling they were dead. They seemed to be light-hearted energy, like a bright kind of energy. Wasn't anything blind or, grieving or anything like that. I was picking up like a high bing, bang, boom kind of energy. And boy, that would be kids, right? Mm-hmm. Their energy, you can always feel so bad when there's a child ghost energy. I think that brings up a lot of things, Steve. We've always talked about it. First of all, you got to figure, is it really a child or just something really evil portraying itself as a child?
Yeah.
That's one. And I would have picked up that malevolent energy and then felt the sounds on top of it or something along those lines. And usually when there's that kind of negative coming, the rods feel different. I've even had them heat up, with so much, because this copper is a conduit, it's been all kinds of things like that. If anybody's ever used them, you kind of get an idea, of that. But anyway, I'm just absolutely thrilled for Uncommon Belief, and like I said, first time in, and that's probably one of the clearest EVPs I've ever heard. When my husband listened to it, he goes, that's the first time I've ever understood an
That's
EVP.
the second clearest. The clearest ones I ever heard was that guy that we had on.
Yes.
That had been down in Brushy Mountain Penitentiary in Tennessee, the old pen there, and recorded some. That was the clearest EVPs I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Those guys
and I know,
swearing in there when the place was empty with prisoners, that had died in there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, some of the best
Was
ones
that
I've heard.
Michael Laciana, I think.
Michael Laciana.
Yeah.
He was there this weekend with Eddie and
He's
hey
a great
Brian,
guy.
hey Brandon and Eddie and everybody, and Mike. I love you guys. It was great seeing you. Yeah, he gets great EVPs.
I wonder about that. I think it's him.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Because
intense. Yeah.
he was talking about this big old reel-to-reel recorder he bought when he was a kid, and that's what he uses apparently to do it. I think they're drawn to him. Like, different people have different
Absolutely.
abilities and stuff. I think he could take any kind of recorder in there, and he's going to get EVPs. Those are
100%
some of the
agree.
clearest,
And
plainest that
pictures.
I've ever heard. Yep.
And pictures, and his love for history
Hmm.
and his heart and intent, and that's what it is. I mean, I've
Um,
seen a group of people with that kind of intent and love and energy come out. And it happened on Saturday night, but get more in 45 minutes with more evidence, flashlights going on and off, and balls rolling across, whatever, moving without being touched, pictures, EVPs, plasma box, Ovulus, the words, the ones that come up with the words, not the white noise that shh, 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 and the words, but the one that actually comes up. And I don't know how it works, but maybe somebody in here I'm not a tech person, like
yeah,
I'm old
those
school.
the one that's like scans the radio thing. That you can hear things in there
Hmm.
sometimes that I think it maybe fools your ear or whatever because your
It can.
brain will try to put things and make things out of it. But like the one
Absolutely.
Michael has, it's a voice. I mean, it's a
Hmm.
clear voice. There's no
Hmm.
white noise. There's no
Yep. That's the one
constant
we were
scanning.
using on Saturday when we all got together. We used
Yeah.
that. They had, but you've got probably 3 or 4 paranormal groups conversion, or people from different investigation groups all coming together as one. And it was amazing because they all brought their expertise, and that was amazing too. But that one there, we had everybody listening to it. I mean, now I've got all the top investigators around, and we're just passing around. What do you hear? I'm not going to say anything. Granted, it wasn't a clean, quiet, but just to be down that hallway and there's no one inside. I mean, no one in sight.
Yeah. When you first played it, I thought there was still kids there because I kept hearing these 2 or 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
when you said no, it's just like the DJ and a bunch of drunks. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
And the music cut off, and somebody coming in and go, "Why does the music go?" You can hear him say something. But like
Yeah.
I said, that was absolutely wild. And at the end of that, I promised them. I determined that they had a message. They were again attached to somebody at the hotel. Maybe somebody worked there. Maybe they came with one of the best. Who knows? Because, like I said, you can feel bad for little kids because first of all, nobody wants to see a little kid pass. And then definitely doesn't anybody want to see a little kid as a ghost. But I can tell you, I met probably 4 or 5 that were just having, I want to say, the time of their lives,
Yeah.
because
The time of their afterlives.
they've learned how to crisscross and come over and help other people and help other kids cross and help people. I mean, this one little boy, his name is George, he comes over and helps other ghosts cross and acclimate to what people are trying to do and trying to help them and moving equipment for them and stuff. And I know he came through with, oh gosh, the story on George. He came through and wound up at this house. Well, actually, he wound up following a couple of people in a group to this house, and I think his name is Jerry. He's in another paranormal group that works with KSPS, and George came through and followed an older ex-slave that I believe followed Dave Haney home. They were
Wow.
in Virginia or Georgia, and they went behind a gas station. I guess a car broke down. They were walking around. I can't remember the story, but anyway, stumbled upon what was called a slave block in Georgia, and it had been behind an old gas station. A lot of weeds growing up around it, but there was a plaque, and that's where they used to stand people. And can you imagine selling a human being? Can you even imagine the
Right.
thought? But it happened, and every once in a while you'll trip over history and realize that sometimes it wasn't so good, and that's coming from a Native American. So just saying, things happened, good and bad, and it's horrible. But I think that little boy was trying to help the big man, and then they followed Dave back to his place and connected onto another person's energy. But in the meanwhile, wound up in the basement of this house where Mike Simpson and myself, last time we went to Gettysburg 2 years ago, and my Uncommon Belief and Haley and I think the homeowner all went down there and wound up crossing about I think it was 12 spirits that night. A woman and her 2 children from Civil War era. She was a one of the townspeople, and the rest were all soldiers from the Civil War, and one soldier from Iraq that was attached to the homeowner. you know. But that was a trip, absolute trip. And we got that man that George brought through and was taken care of. He crossed over, but George decided he was going to cross over and come back and help others. So he jumps in and out, you know. And that's amazing. These kids, some of these kids are stronger, you know, than the adults in this case, because I think they're a little freer, a little bit, you know, not like we say with the animals, don't have any human low vibrational emotions that hold them back, like like dogs and cats. We say they could just, and animals and horses, whatever, go back and forth and jump over. But I think some kids are like that too, because I saw a lot of that this weekend, and I didn't feel sad. They were just happy to do what they were doing, you know, and they weren't stuck. They were like, no, listen to the no. They actually thought about it. The emotion shifted in the voice, and it's just powerful. And I'm glad he got it, and we're going to get that worked on, see if we can get it clearer. And if we can, I'm going to bring it back here so you guys in the chat can hear it. And it's just absolutely amazing. Little kids like to play with balloons, and then somebody said, just regular, yeah, I mean, you'll see people bringing dolls and all kind of things, but, you know, I didn't advertise this. I went to some trusted people, and at the end of the session with the dowsing rods and stuff, and again, I hadn't heard the recording yet, I had promised them, one of them said they had a message, and I said, okay, I've got a couple good mediums here, and somebody else has got better equipment. I'm going to send them here tomorrow night, I promise. And I did, and they talked to them, and they passed them the message along. So it took a village that night, and it usually does, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but they were fine. I don't know what the message was or who it was for, but we got it sorted like Jim has. So that was one. Yeah. That was one. And of course, the battlefield, overwhelming, as usual. And again, it was my husband's first time there, and I think my son had been there at least twice. And Devil's Den again. If you guys don't know anything of the stories there, the battle, I highly suggest you read Killer Angels by Michael Shara, and the second novel is Gods and Generals, and the third of the trilogy is Full Measure. And it was Jeff and Michael Shara at that point. His son had to help finish it because his dad had passed, and he finished it. And then the movies were made from that, Gods and Generals and Gettysburg. So, you know, give that a watch with a new eye and everything else, because I'll tell you, Gettysburg, Devil's Den, all that, Pickett's Charge, Peach Orchard, and in the book, I've got so many stories of Gettysburg in there. Steve and I just love that chapter. So get the book and read that. And
yeah, the Gettysburg chapter alone is worth the cost of the book.
Thank you. Well, Gettysburg's got a new chapter, so here we roll. Like I said, a couple of the Berries and the guys from KSPS and everything bought a bed and breakfast, and I really wish they called it a dead and breakfast, but they have too much class for that. Too much class. It's an absolutely phenomenally beautiful place. It's got a bar in it. It's got a little dining area. It used to be a restaurant. And then the rooms in it, it's 3 stories of the most beautiful renovated rooms and period stuff. It's the energy when you walk in the door is amazing. It's in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, just outside of Gettysburg. And I mean, like if you're having a wedding or if you just want to get away, there's a bar right across the street. You can stumble across the street afterwards and get a free breakfast in the morning. What more could you want? It's a beautiful little town. But we whisked away. I think we went there about 8 o'clock on Saturday night after we had done everything else. So this is a long day. And the whole time, Steve, like I said in the beginning, I feel like I'm being drawn, but I don't know what. And I kept thinking about a little boy, but I believe the overwhelming feeling since I decided to go, and you and I have talked about this too, and I talked about it with Dave. I said, the little boy, and Jim kept saying George, but I think George can go back and forth. So we all got stuck on George, thinking about him. But I think George was maybe sending me a message to come and help somebody else. And, of course, at this stuff, we can only guess. It's all theory, and it's just feeling and information put together from a couple of different trusted people that you kind of figure out maybe he was pulling me, and that's why I kept seeing him.
Yeah.
Because this house, what they have done, I did a show with them not too long ago, right after they got the house and been in it a while, and they had got accustomed to the spirits that are in this house. Now, there's multiple spirits, but there's also a portal in the 3rd floor where they come through, I guess, the closet, or there's a mirror in the closet there, so they can come and go.
Yeah. It's about those mirrors.
And they, I've seen masses come through the wall and just walk through like they were going.
And did
just
you say the mirror
through.
Was in the closet?
I think so.
That makes it 10 times creepier.
I know.
Because every time I opened the door, I would think I saw something, whether I saw something or not.
Yeah. I mean, it's really a trip. And
just go. I got to step away for a minute. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Oh, well, I can go on for a while. So go ahead. Take your time. So we're in this house now. Again, this is a period of time. The house was built in 1812. And I mean, like I said, it's just gorgeous. And they've renovated it to where the feel. And there's timely pictures on the walls. The furnishings are all done with that time and that feeling in mind. So you really feel like you're walking back in time first and foremost. Now, if you want to see some cool pictures, I didn't grab them for you, but you can go to KSPS on Facebook. You can go to Pamela Berry's Facebook or the Hoover House, 1812 Hoover House Facebook group page. And you can look at all the pictures there, and you can see how beautiful this house is. And I'll try to remember to put a link to it underneath. And that's also the people that ran this beautiful bash for such a great cause. So if you can promote it, or somebody in the area wants to do a nice little wedding and getaway or whatever, hire the cigar guys, get you some beef jerky, some pretty sparkly glasses, look at that, for your bridal party, and just have at it, because I mean, it's a beautiful place. So you go in, and of course the grand staircase is this way, and they've got the dining room to the side, and they got a massive kitchen and bathrooms and everything. And like I said, at one time they made it a restaurant, so you've got all the amenities and stuff there, the double bathrooms downstairs, and a beautiful bar when you go around, like a pub with big screen TV and stuff this way, which kind of looks out of place in this house, but it works for some reason. And just a lovely wraparound porch. Upstairs has got balconies off the bedrooms. It's got the gabled ceilings, everything, just absolutely gorgeous. And what they have done there is they have brought so much light and intent and good intentions to this place that I heard a little story I won't tell too much about, but they were going to buy another place, and the good spirits from the house that they were usually did investigations in kept telling them, no, the one with the green room, you have to buy the one with the green room. And they kept thinking it was this one room that had something green in it, whatever, and it was a classic case of reading too much of your own self into it instead of listening to the words that were actually said. The one with the green room. And something started to happen at the end of getting ready to sign those papers, and they started looking at one more place, and it was this place, the Hoover 1812 house. And they went in to look at it, and they split up. It was Jim and Dave, KSPS, and Steve and Pam Berry. And they're in there looking at this house, and Jim goes upstairs, and he's got his little stuff that he works with. And he asked, he said, if the spirits came with me, or if there's any spirits here, we're supposed to get this house. If you could give me a sign, we'd appreciate it, because we've only got so much money to put in one spot. We want to get the right place. And he hears, look downstairs, green room. And he goes down the stairs, and the room that his son-in-law, Dave, is standing in and talking to the real estate agent with Pam, is standing in the green room. A solid, all the walls are green, everything in it is green, and they're standing in it talking to the real estate agent. And Jim says he's standing on the when he sees it, he just starts waving his hands to Dave, going, this one, this one, we're supposed to get this one. And man, they listened and they got this house, and they have hit the ground running now since February. They have gotten to know so many of the good spirits in this house that, again, aren't stuck. They're connected to the house or the furniture or came with them, like they were grouping together for a reason and got them to buy this place. Just amazing stuff. And, a lot of other stuff happened along the way, too, that made them, this must be it. And they're not sorry, because now they've gotten into where the spirits of the house know who's coming to visit or coming to investigate, because they will rent out parts of the house or the whole house for paranormal investigation if you have the right intent, the right heart, and of course you're not going to provoke and everything else, and you're really just going to learn and communicate with the spirits or spirits of loved ones that come with you and things like that. It's really great what they're doing. And the last show I did, when I first saw Jim's face, he started talking about the Hoover house, the whole thing I was getting was that house is going to be a beacon of light for not just the dead, but for the living. Because what they have done at this point is the spirits have gotten so used to talking with the people that are always there that, like I said, they'll know when somebody's coming to visit, and they're able to attach to that energy and go get their loved ones. And like the night or 2 days before the people show up, those spirits of their loved ones are coming through and go, when's Jerry getting here? Or when is Emma gonna come here? I know she's coming. I'm so excited. And that's the kind of message that they'll get. And sure enough, a day or two later, in this group that's coming will be that person that they were talking about. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I think that goes to our theory about the more you use that muscle, the more you connect with that same energy, the more familiar it gets, like a good old path in the woods, like a trail you've crossed over and walked through, and you've mashed down all the weeds, and you've walked a perfect little trail, and it's just easier. You know what I mean? It's like, I have a trail out in my backyard. It's a wildlife preserve, and I can look down, if the stuff isn't grown too high or the ivy hasn't gotten too thick, I can look right down through there and see the lake and everything else, and it's beautiful. But I don't walk down there because there's a lot of poison ivy and stuff, and I don't have a boat in it. It's not one of those. The boats are on the other side, and I'm just on the wildlife side. And just ducks and raccoons, and we have a fox, and we have rabbits and things like that have mashed this little trail down. And it looks like a path that people walk through all the time, but it's just the animals. So you can imagine how energy must be. If you get that familiar path from the spirits in the spirit world to the earthbound spirits or the living that are still here, so that they can zip on in. And that's not the first time I've heard that, because many mediums and psychics, if you think about it, you really listen, will tell you, I have a spirit guide that brings everybody in. I have, if they have a client or something that comes all the time, they recognize that energy of that loved one that always seems to come through and bring messages, maybe even if they come through and bring other family members in. And I think that's what this house has become. It's just this hub of energy. You've got a portal in the up third floor out there, and then you've got a portal in the basement, and then they take me on the tour. So we go upstairs, we see all the bedrooms, and of course the original owners both passed, of like natural things, heart attack in their later life, an aneurysm in the very late life for the wife. They both died in that bedroom. The daughter took it over, and I believe she died in the house, I believe in the kitchen. So, I mean, just, it's been around since 1812. Chances are somebody's going to pass there. But nobody of that family seems to be stuck. Like, they'll come in and say hi every once in a while, love what you do at the house, all that kind of thing. Very happy that the house is being well taken care of. Doesn't seem to be anything there that's agitated or you know, angry. You know, all kinds of things happen. Of course, you know, there was 2 nights before we got there was a man in the group that just kept saying, I'm a skeptic, I don't believe in this mess, I can't believe you got me to come here, but I came for my wife, or something like that. And the guy goes down the hall after doing a big old kind of a little sniffy rant. He goes into the bathroom at the end of the hall, and the spirits locked him in the bathroom. Sure enough. And he could not get out. And nobody could open the door from the outside. And he couldn't open the door from the inside. The door handle's turning, but the door won't open. And this is like a restaurant bathroom door, because like I said, it was at one time a small little restaurant. So they've got those good, you know, kind of bathroom doors on it where you can just flip the handle and push it and go in. And they couldn't get it open. They could not get it open. And they actually had to call the local fire department to pry that door open, and just at the last minute it just gave way like it was nothing. And I'll tell you something, that man came out a little sweaty, a little shook up, and I think a little bit less of a skeptic coming out of that bathroom. But I didn't get to see that. That happened 2 nights before I got there. And if you go on Pam and, like I said, KSPS Keystone State Paranormal Society, their Facebook page and their web pages, you'll see the pictures of the ghosts they've got down the cellar. And you go down this cellar, and it smells just like an old 1800 cellar, and the wood steps and all that. It's not the first dark cellar I've gone down into Gettysburg, but everybody wanted to go down there and show me that there's a back door, and everything is all set up. And we're talking about the cellar in the 1812 Hoover House, Steve.
All right.
So they show me the cellar, and it used to be a speakeasy in the late 20s. So they had a secret entrance into this cellar, and they had it all set up like a little bar, and the energy down there was just tripping. You know, but it did still look like an old dark cellar, and you could tell, like, you know, they probably had gambling down there, and it was probably a happening place, you know. And they have got pictures in there of a dark figure standing in the back room and in the hallway. And we didn't do it this night, but they sometimes they'll put out shots of whiskeys, because one of them was a bootlegger. The ghost has come through, and they got that much information. And the other guy was just a gambler, and they have a couple of prostitute ghosts that are down there. At least, you know, ladies of the night, let's call them. And prostitute sounds so harsh. It all means the same thing, but they seem to have a little bit of an air to them, you know, like the 1920-ish kind of feel to them. So they were probably down there around the speakeasy time, and something happened. I don't know what yet. But, you know, and we were telling the story about 2 nights before this, a skeptic was in there raising fuss because his wife had drug him to this gathering, and the spirits locked him in the bathroom. The fire department had to come get him out, Steve. He left a little sweaty and a little less of a skeptic that night.
Yeah, I bet.
I think they busted that door up, but he probably kept running right to the car. But so anyway, we're there that night. Now, what they have done is, since they've got such a rapport and a familiarity with the spirits there, and all the spirits want to help, and while you were gone, I also explained to the chat that they actually go and get the loved ones of the people that are coming in a couple of days. They seem to know, the other side knows that their people are coming, and they'll come through the night before and say, oh, I'm so glad that, you know, Emma's coming, or I'm so glad that George is going to be here, and they get excited about it, you know. And it comes through to these people because they sit almost every night and do some kind of gathering, or they do all kind of different investigation. But one of the ones that's the favorite is they've got these old antique tables, you know, those little round like tea table, or not a card table, but a little side table you put a phone on, or put by the easy chair or something, back in the day, Victorian. Yeah. And little round tables, and each one of these tables now has its own spirit. So one is called Charlie, one is called Emma, one is called something else, because that spirit seems to like to work with that table. Now, I don't know if y'all have ever seen table tipping. And what you do is, and how they do it anyways, they do it the old Victorian way. 3 or 4 or 5 people sit around and lightly place their fingers on the table, and they don't touch you. You tuck your feet underneath you, right? You rub your hands down with sandalwood oil, and then it kind of connects you to spirit. easier. And everybody lays their hand down, and then you have one speaker that's familiar with that spirit, that table. And this happened to be Jim's sister, and she's just the kindest, gentlest lady I've ever seen. Just exudes just this class and elegance, and boy, but you want to talk about fringe and getting down to the paranormal, this woman can do it. And this table happened to be Emma, and we're all sitting around it, and I don't think Mario would mind, but I kept telling him for 2 weeks, I said, we got to go, I know you're going to get a message. And he had been wanting to get a message. He was one of those that, this one might come through from his grandfather, or this one might come through from his dad, and they were poignant and validated connections over the time I've known him. But he always said to me, why don't I hear from my mom? And I keep saying, she's probably real busy over there knowing your mom. She's probably into everything, having a blast. And you might not be ready to hear from her, or you may be blocking it. You know how we say sometimes you want it, but you don't want it. Somehow you're unwillingly blocking it. Mm-hmm. Maybe you want it too bad, or whatever it may be, or questioning it and blocking. I don't know.
Well, that's usually the way it works. When you go out looking for something paranormal and trying to find something, that's usually when it won't happen. It most likely happens when you're not even thinking about it, not prepared for it, and just happens organically.
Right. And that's it. But I kept getting it. Not only was getting a draw for the child, but I was getting the draw for, he's got to go. And he seemed to willingly want to do it this time and be involved in everything. He had a ball. And so we're sitting at the table, and the way they do it, again, you lay your hands on the table so lightly. Nobody is moving this table. It wasn't even a question in my mind that people were moving this table. It was absolutely impossible. You could move the table all around. Sometimes you get up and move across the room, and you just go with it because it's trying to show you something. But it's like this table's got a life of its own. And you know what? I think that's exactly what, for that time, I think it did. Mm. But it looked like something out of Disney. It was just all over the place, moving. But she'll talk to it, and she says, are you here? And it just very lightly tips towards her as a yes, and then back as a no. Very similar as the dowsing rods. It has its way, and they've known the answer. And so she asked if it was anybody at the table, and what they do is they name everybody there to introduce everybody to the spirits and back and forth. And just a friendly, just little thing. Just so impressive and just so full of love. It was amazing. And somebody at the table got a message, and it was confirmed, and it was emotional and wonderful. And then it said, do you have one for anybody else? And they go around and they name everybody in the room. And when they got to Mario, a table tipped yes. And he was just, what? And he goes and sits down. He puts his hands down on the table. And he got a validated, long, 20-minute conversation with his mother.
Wow. That's awesome.
It blew his mind. And, I mean, he was just so overwhelmed. And everybody, I think it was 2 or 3 people at the table with tears running down their face. It was amazing. And at the very end, she says, do you have any last message for Mario? And the table scooted all the way over to him and just dipped in, leaned, and pushed on him. And she said, that was a hug. Amazing stuff. And I saw it happen. There was something going on in every room. It was like a Victorian spirit night, free-for-all in every room. Somebody was upstairs with a box, and downstairs over here, and, just doing EVPs and coming in and out. It was lovely. It was absolutely wonderful. And we wound up one night in the basement, and I was with Michael Laciana and his friend Brandon, my 2 sons, because my oldest son, his fiance, surprised us on Saturday and showed up, and we went to the battlefield again and wound up in the cellar that night, dark cellar in Gettysburg that night. Sounds like family, doesn't it? So, and there we were, and Mike Simpson, the wonderful mustached Mike Simpson, one of the best paranormal, kindest investigator tech guys I've ever seen. The way he does an investigation is something to behold, and he includes everybody, and he did that night. And we're all in the cellar, and it was Jesse Tone, his fiancée Stacy, beautiful young lady. It was James Wyrick, and a couple other people were down there. I think Jerry was down there. The little boy George was down there. helping everybody, and it seemed like he was helping people come through and hitting off the EMF meter and shutting off the flashlight on and off, just goofing, having a great time. And then I'm sitting there, and Mike gives this little, James gives this little talk and says, if there's anybody here, I could feel people in the back room, like hide around the corner. There was a couple of guys that just wasn't having it. They were there. They didn't feel like playing games, and but I could feel them. And I hear they don't like women. These are the moonshiner and the gambler. All he wants to do is drink and tell dirty jokes. So, which is fine with me. I'd have got him a cigar and we could have sat down there. But anyway, we're mixed company. So we're all there and everybody's doing their thing. And Mike Laciana's taking pictures. And he's got all of his equipment and everybody's got something. And we started with the thing that says, that prints the words, and the one that grabs, like you said, out of the radio. And if you just hear, no, and it moves on, you don't count that. But if it's scanning and you're getting 3 and 4 and 5 word sentences.
Yeah, then that's something different.
Something different. So, and we were getting that. And a couple of choice words from the gambler, like, screw off, I'm not doing that. Those kind of things. It's like, great. And all of a sudden, Jim says, it's okay to come through. You can trust us. Now, here's where it gets funky. I'm sitting in the chair, and I can feel him behind me. And I feel something move up behind me. But I felt a female energy, but I was just staying quiet. And he said, trust. And I hear in my head, trust. I trusted. This is what happened to me. And I could feel inside my throat, not outside like this, but inside, like all of a sudden I got a tickle that gets worse, and then it turns into a cough, and then it turns into where your throat's closing up on the inside. It started on the inside and moved out, as if I was choking on something. It was getting worse and more irritated. And then it got to the point where I'm just coughing and just... and I held up my hand like I'm okay, because I knew what was happening was I wasn't being attacked. Jim was saying sometimes we have a guy down here that doesn't like women and we'll attack him or push him or something like that. And I'm going, no. As I'm choking, that's not what I was getting. What I was getting was the female was showing me how she felt. When she was going, and it wasn't that she couldn't breathe, as bad as that was. It was the fact that she was looking in the eyes of someone she had trusted and was in shock and just like letting go. And when she left, that's what was in her mind as the lights went out, was the shock of I trusted you, and just having that person on her and killing her. And finally, and I said, that's enough. And she took it off. I said, I understand, I get it. And I said, this is what happened to you, or something like that. Now, on the thing that Stacy was holding, she was getting Allison, 20, choking. These are the words that are coming up. And on the box that was said, we were getting a female voice saying something that I couldn't quite make out. I could make out the words a little bit, but I was like choking, so I was preoccupied. And they're going to look over that to see if it matches the stuff on the, the other stuff on the equipment we were getting. And then the word Allie came up, and somebody misunderstood. Oh, do you want to be called Allie? And later on, after the fact, we put it all together. No, she was saying she was choked in the alley behind the house by somebody she trusted. So there's another perfect example of, and also she was fine. She was visiting. That when people come down there, she likes to come down and see where, things went. I think she's also, avoiding the guy that did this to her, and she's got one of those things. But we have people on it. We try not to ever leave anybody in any kind of dire straits like that, but the people will go down there and absolutely handle that over time. Sometimes it's like therapy. You can't just do it in one night. they're going to have to talk her through that, because she's going to have to let that go, at least be able to talk more about that trust issue. And I don't blame her. But I could absolutely feel it, and it did feel different than being choked from the outside. I've been choked from the outside for at least they attempted to, and it's not like that. It was inside was the tightening, and then it moved out, so it was crazy. So that was the big stuff that happened there in the cellar. They took me upstairs after that to look at the rooms and the portal and some other stuff, and all of a sudden I hear, "Where's Cisco?" And I'm like, "I'm here." And I'm thinking, oh gosh, something happened to Mario or something else, because it was like an urgent. And it's Jim. It's Jim Wyrick. And he says, "You got to come now. I've got a little girl downstairs and she's ready to be crossed. And we can't convince her." And I'm gone. I'm like, "Take me there." Because this is what I was called to do. I knew it the second he said it. So I just drove 4 hours one way. You see? And people have a hard time helping their neighbor. You see what I'm saying? So, and I knew it the minute he said it, Steve, that this is why I was here. Mm-hmm. I think I ran over him going down the stairs to try to get to the table. So here I go, and there's like 4, maybe 5 people sitting around this little table with and one empty chair. And the lady points to the chair and says, "Right here." I said, "Fill me in." And they say, "We have a little girl. Her name is Carla. And this little girl, between the ages of 8 and 9, about, say, 100 years ago, was in a house not far away. Not that house, but a house not far away. She had several brothers and sisters. To an affluent family, she had a full-time nanny and a wackadoodle mama. Something happened to one of the little brothers. I guess she was supposed to be watching him. And unfortunately, the little brother was playing near the stairs, fell down the stairs, and died. The mother had just had a baby, postpartum depression. We imagine that it was possible she still had, because the baby was a couple months old, less than a couple months old, and probably not all there anyway. And to punish the little girl, she apparently drug her up the stairs and drowned her in the bathtub. Mm. So now we've got a little girl who can't trust. I've got a prostitute lady of the night downstairs that's got trust issues. Obviously big, problems with trust here tonight. That was the theme. And when I sat down in the chair, I just I felt like a doctor running into surgery room for emergency surgery, and I'm like, "Fill me in, nurse. What's going on?" Well, the patient that's kind of the way they were handling it, but with love. There probably was 10 people in the room at the time, and I didn't see them. I have no idea who was there till after the fact. And afterwards, people came up and said, "That was the most beautiful thing I ever saw." And I'm like, I didn't even know they were in the room, because I was focused on this little girl. When I sat down, Steve, I sat down at the very same table, and I put my fingers on the table, and immediately I felt her. I saw her. Like fuzzy, but I could see her in my mind's eye. Just this little girl, and she didn't want to look at me. And everybody was trying to give me little pieces. I said, "Okay, that's good. I got her." Everybody just focus on love, because I had to focus on this little girl. And I got my hands there, and I'm talking to her, and I said, "Hi, sweetie." Just talk to her like anybody else. That's just how you do it, guys. I don't know. Maybe other people do it different, but I was connected, and I ran with it. And I said, "Hi, sweetie, my name is Cisco, and I'm a friend, and I'm also a mom, and I love my kids, and I love all children. Are you willing to talk to me?" And the table tipped toward me and pushed into my stomach real light. Little hug. Yes. And I said, "Okay." And I said, "I hear that you have some people that you might be missing. The other side, you're a little tired of hanging around." We did that kind of chitter-chatter. And maybe you'd like to cross over. And I said, "But you might be a little scared." She said, "Yes." And she tipped the little table toward me, pushed it into my stomach, and then pulled it back like, "Yes, I'm a little scared." And I said, "That's okay, honey. I'm going to get you there." I said, "You trust, you I know you don't want to trust people, but," I said, "you can feel that you could trust me, right? Look inside, I said, "You can feel the love, right?" I said, "Do you remember what love feels like?" And we did that, very similar to the soldiers under the witness tree. I had to connect her into the love. Because here's this little girl who's drowned by her mother, lost her little brother. She probably went out in a real, needless to say, state. And I said, do you remember love? And one of the ladies at the table said, I don't think she does. I said, she does. She remembers. I said, did you have she had a little dog, and she showed me the dog in my mind. And I said, do you remember what it felt like to get a hug and to hug that dog? And she right away, she started lifting her little energy started lifting up and letting go a little bit. And I said, you know, that hug and that warm goes around. I said, I want you to close your eyes. And I said, I want you to imagine the sun, how it felt when it was in your beautiful hair and on your shoulders on a warm summer day, and how that felt, just that warm light. It kind of feels like a hug, right? And then I could feel at the time, she kind of opened one eye, and I said, Peeker, close your eyes. And the whole room just kind of laughed, which was great because laughter lifts, you know, the energy, the vibration, right? So it was easier for her. And we talked about the warm sun on her shoulders and stuff. And while she was focusing there, I called my spirit guides, hers and angels and her loved ones, and I called that nanny and any siblings that she had that she felt love with to come in through the light and get her. And I said, okay, now look, can you feel the warm on your face? I said, turn your face to where that warm light's coming and open your eyes. Do you see the light? And she tips the table real deep, like pushes against me, like, yes, you know, I see it. And I could feel her energy, and everybody at the table was just, I mean, when I opened my eyes, everybody was crying with a dry eye at that table. And I had teenage boys sitting there. I had men sitting there, women. It was a beautiful thing. And she turned, and when she turned to look toward the light, I said, reach out into that light. And I said, do you see your nanny's hand? Can you reach for her hand? And she said, yes, I do. And she hugged. And I said, you go in love, little girl. I said, you run in there, Carla. You run towards that light, sweetheart. And we did the same thing. I said, come and get her, come and get her. I said, everybody send your light energy. And the table just let go from the hug and just went. And she was gone.
Wow.
The whole room was busted out in tears, and everybody was so happy for this little 8-year-old girl who her mother had drowned in a bathtub, and she didn't go in hate and mistrust. She went in pure love from a room full of strangers. And that, my friends, is what the paranormal is all about for me, right there.
Indeed.
Isn't that amazing? So little Carla, we wish you love, darling. We wish you love. And we all got the feeling that night that Carla's probably going to come back and probably hang out with George when she gets, you know, together. Sometimes they back and forth it, you know. And she'll probably help George cross over a lot of people and a lot of children and things like that. And I think this house is absolutely going to be a beacon for the living and the dead. And I highly recommend going if you're interested in this stuff or you just want a nice place to stay. And if you do, say hi to Carla and George and Emma and everybody out there for me. And some of the living too, you can say hi to them. That's it. Gettysburg, man. Gettysburg. Unbelievable. What do you think?
It's amazing.
So it was Kids Weekend, right, Steve?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody I was connecting with was the kids, really. Well, and the lady of the night, you know, which was unfortunate. I can't imagine, you know, that happening. And, you know, it's bad enough being killed, but being killed by somebody you trusted, that just stinks double. You know, does that remind you of anything, Steve? Or, you know, crossing over people, there's a lot of controversy about that. Like, you know, you shouldn't do it. It's their journey and they're there for a reason. And I've gotten back and forth with people on that. And there's some people I respect an awful lot that just doesn't think it's our place to do that. But if I'm getting called 4 hours one way to come out there and help a spirit.
Yeah. And you knew why you were there. So.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And this little girl, and it's always free will. I've gone to hell that absolutely say, no, I'm not ready yet. I want to stay here. And that's their, absolute right to do so. And that's why people say, well, ghosts have free will. That means they don't have to go here, and they don't have to go through this, and they don't have to go through that. Well, I don't think that's how it works. But I think you have free will if you're going to stay or go. But the sad part is, how long is going to be another 100 years for somebody comes through and you're able to talk to them?
Yeah, for sure.
How about that one, kiddo? That was Gettysburg weekend. We had a reincarnation thing, I believe, happened too. One of Mike's friends, I won't name him here because if he'll probably come on an episode and maybe we'll mention it, but that'll be his choice. But just for the chat and everything, this is the kind of stuff that happens when the veil gets real thin and you're in a place like Gettysburg. He turned around, Mike introduced me, he turned around, looked at me, and I'm staggered because when he turned around, for, I mean, like a full second, which is a long time when you're looking at somebody and trying not to make faces and act weird, I saw him in a Union uniform. I mean, the hat, the whole thing with the tintype look, like it almost like he was in one of those little pocket frames that the ladies used to carry their husbands when they went off to the war with their boyfriends. You know what I mean? The little the little Civil War things. Mm-hmm. And like I had seen his face in a picture. And I blew it off and I said, well, I think have I met you before? Blew it off that way, but that's not what was going on. I was just buying time. And then one of the guys at the table said, well, you probably know him from a past life. Well, we just got done talking today. I wasn't the only one that said it. And I said, you know, if you're drawn to Gettysburg and history and you have a lot of those traits of a soldier and you've never been one, but it's inherent, like I said, we were talking about genetic memory, DNA memory, you know, all that, past lives, you know, you might be remembered a little bit, because I think that has to do, even if you don't know why you're doing it, it gives you traits that you carry with. And I said, this weekend, honey, I wouldn't be surprised if your picture isn't hanging in full Union garb in one of these elevators somewhere. I said, you're going to stumble. That's probably why everybody recognized you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past it. So you gonna go next year, Steve, and get you some of this?
Yeah, I plan on it. As long as I get moved back east like I plan, I'll be a lot closer. It'll be a lot easier for me to go then.
Well, I can't tell you. I had the most wonderful paranormal hangover, being with everybody and learning, and it's just amazing. And again, I bring to you the chat that miracles happen every day. I think the veil's thinning. I think you're going to see a lot more if you open your eyes. I mean, little signs, you know, the butterflies, the cardinals, the feathers, the song that comes on, the phone that whatever it is, the phone that rings, the picture that turns over, the pennies from heaven, the quarters from the clouds. I mean, I think be open to it. If you're open to it, you're going to see this kind of stuff because it truly is real, isn't it, Steve?
Oh, absolutely. Just all those things you mentioned there, I've heard or seen or experienced at one time.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got one more kick in the pants for you before I let you go. It's short, but I got to tell you because it's got to do with this chat. It's got to do with you, Steve. It's got to do with a couple other episodes. It wasn't an iceberg falling down, but when I went into the Hoover House, Jim heard the story about the Titanic, and he pulls me, you know, what happened to us and everything, because I asked them to be part of it, part of the investigation, and any insight they may have, you know, because they're wonderful. And he pulls me in and he says, you're not going to believe what I got here. And he flicks on the light, and the whole case on the top is a model of the Titanic. There's anything Titanic you can imagine. You know, there's the movie, an old VHS. They've even got the foods that came out in the year that it went down, was in 1912, right? Mm-hmm. So like the ones like Hellman's mayonnaise and just the different things that came out during that, because this whole thing is Titanic. But within a little wooden box in the middle shelf are 2 metal chips that one of the divers took off of the railing at sea deck and put in little plastic holders, and inside a little box that came off the Titanic with the note and the whole thing from the diver and the people that were with him when he got it, and the widow that donated it to Jim. And there it is. And he said Cisco, I think I've got part of your answer here. There was it wasn't a cook. He was called something else. It wasn't a chef. It was something else on the ship. But he basically came to cook and brought his crew it was a total of 63, including him. His name was, I'm going to get it wrong. It was Raul or Ruiz or something along those lines. And I will get the information for the chat. And right now I'm just trying to remember. There's so much happening. And he came through to Jim and some others at that house and said that he needed help for him and his crew because out of 63, only 3 made it out because when the ship began to sink, the crew went down and locked them all in their cabins so they wouldn't bum rush the lifeboats. And he wasn't crossing till his crew got to go with.
Wow.
So there is a continuation on the Titanic, and I said after the little girl, I was just too tired. I could, and the prostitute, the seller, I couldn't do any more. But I said I'm going to go back, and we will see if we can get those 63 to quite possibly join our Titanic experiment, and let's see if we can get that crew crossed.
Let's do it.
How about that? To walk in there and see the whole thing from the Titanic, I was like, I can't even believe this.
Can't get away from it.
I can't believe it.
We're on the path. We know what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to do it. So
isn't that something? So Gettysburg was an absolute wowzer. Again, it never disappoints. If you could start now, get to the bash next year, and come table tipping with me because wow, what a gas. So I just don't know what else to say. It was absolutely phenomenal. There you go. What's going on here in the chat? I'm going to let y'all go. Steve, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm spellbound here, and I love those Gettysburg stories. That's one that I've read and studied about, and just so many things that go on there. But it's neat to hear about children because usually you hear Gettysburg, you think of soldiers. And granted, they need help too. But especially warms my heart to think about the kids that are there that may not even know what's happened or don't understand, and that they've got somebody to help them get to where they need to go.
Amazing.
That's the best part.
It's absolutely, I'm just flabbergasted about the whole thing. I mean, I'm so glad we got to do, to help them. I mean, I felt bad walking away from the one in the hallway, but I knew I was sending good help, and I knew, because you never want to break a promise to a ghost. I'm here to tell you. I got stories. I got stories. You don't want to do that. Don't promise them anything you can't keep, because
definitely not.
It's not something you want to do. And but to think that there was a little theme, we had a trust, it seemed like a trust theme. It was all unintentional. It just happened that way. Yeah. And the kids and stuff, and everybody had a wonderful time. It was wonderful seeing all these fantastic people, Mike Simpson and Michael Laciana, and all of them are coming on as guests on the show. I've got oils and metaphysical stuff and gemstones coming on. I've got tarot card readers that are signed up. I got a UFO guy. We got to tell a little Bigfoot story too. He goes through and pinpoints everything that's happened around the USA, all the Bigfoot sightings and UFO sightings, and a lot of them seem to match up around the same time. So that one you'll be real interested in, Steve, and the chat will too.
Definitely.
And we've just got so many people coming. Ron Yakoveni's coming back on, and of course Mark Nesbitt and Carol. And Mark Nesbitt's doing wonderful work in paranormal crime scene investigation, trying to solve the murders through communicating with the victims that they killed. So wonderful things he's doing, and I love to bring all this new and exciting stuff, but man, I'm telling you what, it seems like when we left that cellar that morning, mid-morning, Mike looked at me and said, you know what, in 45 minutes, we got more evidence tonight than the whole season of one of the paranormal shows. And I said, yeah. I said, I think that's because everybody here, right intent, good heart, just wants to help. And I think that's the approach to paranormal. you stay in that high vibrational light and everything else. It works just as much to lift the living as it does the dead, doesn't it, Steve?
Yep.
You know.
Sometimes more so, I think.
Yup. And everybody here, we're getting we're getting all kind of things. Thanks for sharing the experience. You know what? That's what it's all about. We're all learning together. If anything I said tonight, you guys got ideas about it, please let us know. Because we're all learning together. I certainly don't have all the answers. The bullseye keeps moving. I've never done the table tipping, nor did I ever even think. I heard about it, but until you do it, it's never. You haven't lived. You've been hugged by a table, Steve.
My grandmother and my mom said they did it all the time. They came out of the spiritualism movement around the turn of the last century. That table tapping or table tipping, they did that very often, and I've seen it done and heard all kinds of wild stories. One time they put one of my uncles, who was just a small kid at the time, up on the table and then tried to get it to move. And they said that old table would creak and groan, was trying as hard as it could to lift up with the kid sitting on it.
Yeah.
So, there's some energy there.
Okay, we've got something going on the chat here. I think I have somebody in here whose mother is very ill, and I'd like to send prayers out and good energy, healing vibes. I mean, listen, guys, if it's good intention and it is, I think it's Stacy. Stacy, is that correct? I think I might have missed the whole thing. Yes, I believe it is Stacy Mask. Whose mom is ill, so please send prayers out and love and good energy to her and her family. Honey,
Raise those vibrations. Love, light, prayers.
Love, light, and prayers. Put all that love out there. Listen, when my son was in ICU, I asked for everybody, prayer list. I didn't care. They said, well, we're Protestant. Do you care? No! I don't care. If you've got good intention and love in my son's name, you send it out to the universe. Mm-hmm. I had Wicca and just every religion and spirituality you can imagine. And what we did was I waited. I was about 48 hours in prayer chains and all this and good wishes and just all this good intent, and I could feel it. I felt like I wasn't alone.
And prayer works.
And
Get on a prayer chain somewhere.
Absolutely. I had to wait till my niece came, Christine. And when she came, she said, Aunt Cisco, what can I do? And I said, honey, walk in there with me. Just hold my hand, and we are going to bring in all this good energy. And I said, just follow my lead. She said, you got it, honey. And we walked in there hand in hand, and we took our hands like this, and I said, I gather every bit of good energy and intent that's put out in my son's name, and we put it right here. And we both took our hands and laid hands on his chest, and you could feel the electricity. And that night is the night that he went from a 15% chance of making it. Next morning, he was a high 85, and the doctor was baffled and couldn't understand how the things inside him was healed and how he got so much energy. And I said, I do. I do. And I can tell you that really works. And listen, honey, not just for your mom, but for you. You're going to need all the good energy and love that you can muster. And the most important thing I can tell you, that you tell her, that make sure she knows you love her and talk all the good high vibrational things. And believe me, if they tell you that she can't hear you, if it might be in a situation, they hear you. Do it anyway. Because I've had many people come out of that state and said they heard every word. Mm-hmm. So, and for you here, sweetheart. Okay, Stacy? But lots of love.
Find a prayer chain to get on the right prayer chain. There's somebody somewhere praying 24 hours a day. And I'm here to tell you it works. 1983, my mom was diagnosed with cancer after exploratory surgery. They said there wasn't anything they could do. It was inoperable. They sewed her up, sent her home to die, and she did 20 years later in 2003. and only then, because my dad passed away first, and after that she was ready to go.
Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, that's just it. It's intent, but if there's one thing in 47 years that I will say I know, Very rarely do I say no. I say I think, or maybe, or I'm leaning this way. I know that love never dies, because that's what the dead are dying to tell us. They come back time after time once they're over there, and all they want to tell you is, "I'm fine, I'm good, I'm here, I see you, I love you, I'm at the celebrations, I'm there, and I heard you when you were talking to me," and those kind of things. So, and that's been 47 years of that. So it's not one or two times, it's over and over and over and over and over and over again. So keep that in mind, and understand that what we do here counts, and let the ones you love know, especially in these times. Everybody needs love, and everybody needs high vibrations, right, Steve?
Yep. Right on.
Absolutely. Well, that's
every
our
time I see you drinking out of that, it looks like a candle.
Does it?
I think you're drinking out of a candle. It looks like one of those Voda or the.
These are so beautiful. It holds your ice all day. I mean, it's not cheaply done, but it is done by an artist right here in the United States.
The candles I'm talking about,
yeah,
the Catholics use them a lot.
It's beautiful. I mean, you can't really
Why
see.
Why is Cisco drinking out of a candle?
You can't really see the glitter, but this is one of those resin, real deep, like glass.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to get into doing it, and I said, I can't do another thing. I got so many arts and crafts going on and things all over the place, but she does, and she does a great job, and absolutely. And I've lost her card. I've got so many cards, and I met so many great people, but we'll talk about it again and get all those websites and stuff on here. Hi to you, B. Scott Farthingsworth. It's good to see you finally made it, and I love everybody in here, and thank you to everybody that's sending all kinds of love and good energy to Stacy. You can feel the love, and that's what we're about, man. We do talk some scary stuff, but we always end it with love and hope, and telling you that you have the power right within you. And I'll tell you what, man, when it's used right, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it, Steve?
Oh, indeed. And thanks to all my people that showed up, and people that are your people too. They're your people too now.
Yeah.
Laura Stevens, Grey Wolf Paranormal.
Oh, yes.
Let's see who else. I saw some other folks in here. Jeanette Sanchez was here. Cassie, of course, from Oracles and Beyond. We'll be over there tomorrow night doing Oracle cards. And Carol Exo. Anybody that I missed, Marae, Chris Jarvis, thanks for showing up. I'll see you guys at midnight on 13 past midnight for Ghost Stories.
Absolutely. And, hit the like, please, on your way out. If you can share this show, please, 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 please do. I think that we told some stories tonight that might touch some hearts out there and help some people. We all need that right now. And, as scary as it sounds to be hanging out with ghost children in the hallway at midnight and being in a dirty, danky basement, which was actually a real nice basement. I make it sound awful, but it was wonderful. It's just really big, and but it wasn't nothing scary about any of it. It's just. No. I mean, I think
I'd rather hang out with the dead than most of the living any day.
And that's the way it is. I mean, it's just I think that we cause a lot of our angst, and of course, if you're in the kitchen and somebody throws a cup across the room, that's gonna make you jump, but. Mostly, if you sit and you think about it, why are they there? They're just getting your attention or whatever, and there's a lot of bad stuff too. We had all that on the weekend. I spent a lot of time with a lot of demonologists and exorcists in the room and stuff like that. We learned all about that stuff too, but you know what? I didn't see any of that this weekend. I saw a lot of love and a lot of light and a lot of good people doing good things for people who couldn't do for themselves, and that's what we need right now. And I love you all, and thank you for hanging out. We done another 2-hour show, Steve, and I know Mulder's crisscrossing the floor. So we better get on out of here.
Carol, great much. Would that be an insult if you told somebody I might like you better if you were dead?
I don't know, but they might lock you up for it.
I have to remember that one. Maybe you'll be a better person when you die and come back.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Stacy sent us a nice, good message here. My mom said thank you when I told her it's so hard for her to talk. Her gratitude welled up to tears, and she couldn't believe y'all would send so much love to both of us. Thank you. Well, honey, there's a lot more where that came from.
Keep raising that vibration.
Absolutely. Anybody in our chat, we're sending that love to you right now, to get through these times. And look, if you're having, you're lighthearted and your energy is all full of light, spread that around, because we need all the light workers right now, and I think we're all born for this time just to keep that light out there. And
Yeah, we're
you know,
drawn
Stacy's
together
mom,
for a common purpose.
Stacy's mom, we love you. Please give us updates, and you're not alone anymore, darling. We're all right there with you, and that's the way it is, and that's the way it is on this show. Steve, I couldn't be more proud of your books and everything you're doing. And if anybody hears this show that was there that night during the table tipping when we passed Carla, you are more than welcome to tell your vantage point of it, because I'll tell you what, I was focused on that little girl, and you could have ran a herd of elephants through there, and I wouldn't have known it. So whatever you saw, please come in and and tell us in the chat and share this. And thank you so much for the subs. I think we're maybe somewhere around 50 away from 1,000, something like that. So if everybody shared it,
tell your friends.
If everybody shared this to their Facebook groups that are interested in things, I think there might be something in there for everybody tonight, because, whoo, I can't believe we went to Gettysburg and didn't cross one soldier, but, you know, we'll be back another time. I love you all so much. We've got this little outro here. Steve, thanks for giving up so much of your time tonight.
My pleasure. I enjoyed it.
To spend with us. We've got our little crispy outro here and our book. And if you like the Gettysburg stories, I'm here to tell you there's quite a few of them in that book, along with Steve's stories and everything else. So, as always, keep your feet under the covers. Keep your closet door shut, because there are things that go bump in the night. I love you all.
Night, everybody.
Good night, Steve.
Night, Siska.